Hi guys, Hobby Laser Guy by Night, coming to you, also known as Kiki Customs, for all of you that would like to check out our website. We are expanding our tools. We now have a 3D printer, which is here, and we're having a motherboard change. The motherboard is starting to glitch, so here we go. So this is an Ender 3 Pro. Most of you have all seen this style of printer, 3D printer that is. And this is our new motherboard. It's the Ultra Quiet, and it comes packaged very nicely. And it looks like it should not be too difficult. This is an official Reality motherboard, and they did send us some directions of at least what each plug is for and versions of different Reality printers that will take this motherboard. From my understanding, most of Reality will accept these. You'll just have to update your firmware. For of you that don't know, that is the programming that's built into this board. So here's the board. You can see it's the V4.2.7. It's got the BL Touch port right here, and this is the Ultra Quiet board. Everything looks like it's put together pretty good. And there's their little quality pass. So we're gonna set this back in the box just to protect it for now. And I do have this unplugged, and I did remove, I have a glass bed, so I removed that so that I don't dump the bed onto the floor and break it. All right, so right down here is where your board is gonna be. So we're gonna start off with, there's a screw that is right beside this rail, and if I move the camera, it'll take me forever to put it back on. So I will just show you the screw as I take it out, and it is a small screw. So you want to make sure that you do not lose these unless you have a whole box of screws just laying around. So once you get that screw out, it's the only screw that you have to remove from the top. Then you're going to very carefully take your printer, take your spool off, or you'll throw this on the floor as you're trying to tip this thing. But go ahead and set your printer on the side, and I will get you down a little bit further. Sorry for the constant movement, but okay. So this is the box that we want to take apart. And there's 3 screws that are in the back. This one, and this one. This screw is a longer screw, and you want to pay attention to that, because if you do not, two different things will happen. You will, whoops, see, I just lost the screw myself. And this is my wife's scrapbook room, so there is all kinds of beads and stuff on the floor under here. So I have the screw. Yeah. They make magnets for these little screwdrivers that you might want to get one. But these are just their normal screws that put the whole machine together. Like I said, this is a longer headed screw, and it's substantially longer. If you look at both of these, this one goes in the back. It has to reach through your framework. So then remove this, and there is the other board. And as you can see, there's a lot going on in here. Okay, so I've seen this done a bunch of different ways, and I'm gonna make up my own. So what I'm going to do so if you guys look right here, there's glue all the way down through here. And that glue is put on there by your manufacturer, which would be Creality. And they do that because it helps hold all of these connections in place. And it's on just about everything that's in there. Okay, I got my little headlamp on here. So there's some little zip ties. You're going to want to snip those. Make sure you don't snip the wires. That way you can open all of this stuff up. Okay, so I think the easiest route for me is, which I would suggest this to everybody, but take a picture of this before you start unplugging everything and trying to route new stuff. Take a picture of your old board. Make sure that you have all the connections. That way, when you plug this back in, you are not guessing. Because I tell you, guessing is not going to work for you very well. Okay. So, you're going to need to remove all of this glue. And you can do it in a bunch of different ways. I'm just grabbing my snips and pulling a little bit. You'll remove this glue. And you don't need it, of course, because, well, we're putting in a brand new board. And like I said, it's on everything that's in here. So you're going to have it on your driver motors down here. You're going to have it on your bed, your heaters for your sensors up here. The only thing that's not going to have it is going to be right here on your mechanically fastened wires. And that's simply because it's fastened on there with screws. Okay, so the screws are fastened, and it looks like it's a flathead screwdriver, and it's a baby one. Okay, so I had to go find my little bitty flathead screwdriver. And like I said, I'm going to do this my own way. So I'm going to take a picture like I had advised earlier. So I got my little camera here. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, so anyhow, as you can see, these boards are very similar, but mechanically inside is where the difference is. So let's start by removing. Oh yeah, you might want to get a pair of needle nose just to where you're not trying to stick your little fingers in here. Whoops. Okay, so the way that I want to do this is I'm going to take this board, I'm going to put it over here like this, and as you just seen, I just pulled this one out of the second slot, which is right here. And we want to make sure that that clips. You guys hear that snapping noise. Next, I want to get these two bigger wires out. So this is a red and a black. You have to make sure that it's imperative that you put these on the right one. On the back of the board, you'll see a fan, plus minus, bed, and heat, and that's what goes to your screw downs. So this particular part is for your bed heat, which is your middle one. If you look right here, you got 2, 2, and 2. So I want to remove these two. Uh-oh. I might have to get a smaller screwdriver, guys. Let me see what I can find. Alright, so I have a little bitty kit that's got a whole bunch of screwdriver heads in it. And wouldn't you know, I do not have a small one in there. So we are going to have to do this a little different, I guess. Alright, well, I'm going to try this, but sorry about not having the correct tooling. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So, break these two loose, and then they'll come right out of there. Okay. There we go, and there we go. So there's my wiring. And so now I want to attach this to the middle two prongs, which are right there. So this will come around and we're going to put this right back in the same spot. So we want it to be on bed, which is the middle two, and so we're going to loosen these up. And if you look inside there, there's two little keepers, so you just want to make sure that those are loose. And then when you're looking, okay, let me take this board off of here because I want to be able to see the back side of the board. And it looks like I just got a couple little Phillips head screwdrivers or screws. Believe it or not, I've got that tool. Okay, so nope, that's not the right part. Okay, so there's a little you got a little screw down here. Remember, you want to pay attention to where these are coming out too. And there's another one way over here. Yep, drop number 2. One more and I'm struck out. Okay, now I think there's one more in here. Let's see. That's out, that's out. It's right here in the middle. They like to hide these darn things. Whoops. And where's the last one? There it is, all the way down here hiding at the bottom. Okay, once we get this one out, the whole board will come right out of there, and then we'll be able to make sure that we're placing these in the right spot. Okay, we've got all 4 screws right there. Now, see on the back side of the bed, or on the back side of this, we just want to make sure that we plug this new one in exactly like what that one was. So, red was on the right, black was on the left. And you want to make sure to get these wires all the way down in there, because if you don't, they will touch something metal and you will have ruined your board that you just bought. Okay, I'm gonna have to find another screwdriver. One momento. Okay, give me 1 second. Oh, goodness. Well, guys, I'm back to the same old not having the right tool, which is funny because I have an abundance of tools. But I don't have okay. There we go. Those were locked shut, not open. So make sure that you open these all the way up. You can see the little tiers right there moving. So make sure you have these all the way open. I'm going to go ahead and open all of them. That way I don't have to try to spin these with wires in there since I don't have the screwdriver that I need. But hey, sometimes you just got to innovate and make whatever work. You guys all know what I'm talking about. Every one of you guys on here that's watching this has done something goofy or kind of messed up like this. But you know what? That's one of the good things about us crafters. We can take something that nobody else wants and make it into a work of art. Alright, so red is on the right. So let's try this one more time. And you do want to make sure these are super tight. You don't want them to fall out. So for all of you that have a regular screwdriver, this should be pretty easy. For me, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But I'll make it happen. It's only 6 screws. Everything else is just plugged together. But get these 2 wires in here. Make sure that the connections are nice and tight, and don't push it in too far. If your wire's not stripped back right, it'll get pinched in between there and you won't get good continuity between your board and the metal of that. All right, so the next one appears to be 24 volt, and this one is red on the right, black on the left. And that goes to our fan. So let's go ahead and get these guys out of here. Okay, So there's those. And like I said, we're red on the right on this one. So I'll tuck that down in there. These little wires right here are the ones that I was really talking about earlier, that if you push it too far, you'll put the casing of the wire down in there and you will not get power running to your components. So note to self, don't do that. And note to all you guys out there, don't do that. So red on the right, do a little pull test on that, make sure it's tight. And then we got our black right next to it. Be nice if there was somebody out there that sponsors people that could send me the screwdriver set that goes with this. That would be pretty neat. I know I don't have the 1,000,000 subscribers yet, but damn it, we're headed that way. All right, so did a little pull test. That's all good and tight. Now we are going for the heat. These wires right here, there appears to be no lefts or rights or however. So I am going to take out one at a time and put it in a new board because I don't want to screw this up. And these boards are not cheap. I mean, they are, but they're not. Not all of us can just dump money into things constantly. But I have this one going in on this side, which is exactly where I took it off of the other side. And this is going to be a little bit of a long video, but we're installing a damn motherboard. Like, how long do you think it's going to take? It sure is not a 2-second pull it apart. All right, and then go ahead and break this one loose and put it in the other side. Make sure you don't have any wire frays sticking out, because like I said, they're going to be your worst nightmare. If you have even one little wire sticking out, especially on some of these components that are running a little more power through them, you will fry your board. You can shock yourself a little bit. I know it's only 24 volt, but it doesn't take that much power to stop your heart. So do a little wire pull. We look good there. So there's that portion of it. Now we have our main wires that I want to take care of next. That's your black and your red coming out of this side post here. So on the back, it shows your positive and negative, and that's your 24 volt. Same thing on this side. So it appears that our red is our positive. Let's pull these out, and we will put these into our new board. Like I said, just make sure you pay attention to the back. We looked and we made sure that red was positive, and you'll have to back these little guys down just like we did on the other ones. So break those loose. And back these wires out. You want to make sure to back them out far enough that you can get the other wires tucked back in there, and it's actually holding and it's good and secured up in there. So I'm going to back those out a little bit more. That is a little loose right there. Hopefully that tightens down. I would suggest that you hang on to this board when you're tightening it, because mine feels a little bit loose. But make sure you get that up in there. Make sure it's on the positive side of your board. And give that a little tighten. And then I'm going to hold the green portion to make sure that I don't twist it out of there and get that good and tight. And then I'm going to put the black over on the negative side, just double checking there. So make sure that that gets tucked in really good and tight, and that you snug it down. Again, I'm gonna hold the green block when I'm tightening this one. I don't want it to break loose from the board. And we look good there. So now we've taken care of all the mechanically fastened stuff. Now it's time to start taking apart everything else. So I'm going to start up here. We have a white wire that's running out of here, and on the back it says TH. So we want to unconnect this one. Look at the back of our board. It says TH on there, and snap that in there. And we're going to go right down all of these. These are your stepper motors. This is your next one to plug in. And you want to try to route these wires as neatly as you can. Just for when you put it back together. Okay, this one is my Y. And my next plug here is my Y axis. Okay, so we're looking good so far. Okay, and then this one will be my X axis, which goes right next to it, which those stepper motors have little labels on them, which is really handy. All right, and now we have these two wires. These are both fan wires. So if you take that one out, it goes to this board, or the fan that's on your outside shell that we took off to begin with. So you can unconnect that one, but this one needs to go to K. K is the one that's up here. It says K at the front. So we want to plug this one in. Whoop, I got some of this glue on there. I'm going to put this on K, and then find our wire that we disconnected for this little fan right here. And this one goes right behind it. All right. So there is that portion of it. Now I got to try to figure out how to get this off, because this is our screen. So these over here go to our stepper motors. I think these are the sensors, and these are the actual steppers that come from the stepper motors. So these are the controls down here, and the other ones are the sensors. So my mistake. So anyhow, let's get this glue off of here. Okay, so they're not really labeled on the back. So I'm just going to say, if you look on the side of the board, it's got X. If you look on here, it's got X, Y, Z, and E. And then these are all labeled with these little parts here. So should be pretty forward. Just connect them as we go here. This is my Y, goes to my Y stepper motor. This is my Z, I do believe. Yep, Z stepper motor. And there, the board's out. But I am noticing that this glue is in spots that I wasn't paying attention to, so I might have to yeah. So there's a little more glue right here that needs to come off. Otherwise, it may not get good continuity between the plug and the prongs. So let's try to get this stuff out of here. Okay. Yep. All right. So we are all plugged back together except for our monitor. And this goes this only can go in one way. There's a little post on there. So make sure that that's all the way down on there. And we are all back together, guys. Pretty simple. I do think I want to unhook this fan and put this on lastly, though. Just because it'll be in my way if I don't. And these wires are all over the place. So, get my handy dandy little screwdriver here. I do got one that fits all of these screws. So we're gonna put this one in first. You wanna make sure there's no wires behind this board. And when you're putting this together, make sure that, like, you can start your screw, but you wanna make sure that everything is lined up out here. Everything should fit kind of together like a glove. Yep. So there's my little okay. Okay, we're gonna do this a little bit different, guys. So I figured that this would be the easiest spot, or easiest part, but apparently it's not. So let me find the easiest hole to line up, which should be this guy right down here. Okay, now lining up our ports on this side to make sure everything is good. There it goes. It just needed to pop in place. And my first screw is started. I wouldn't suggest tightening these all the way up yet, because you're going to need a little bit of wiggle room to get everything back together. Okay, my next screw is way back here. And it appears I have a wire underneath of the board. You know, like I said, don't do. So let's pull this screw out. Then I need to get this out from behind there. Okay, perfect. Now, back in there. Okay. Now we're doing it. Now we're cooking with canola, as some people say, I guess. Okay, and then there's another one right here in the middle. And lastly, there's one at the bottom, all the way down here, so it's a pain in the behind to get to. Okay. All right. So now we'll route these wires back down through this channel. We'll plug our fan right back into the K port, or right behind the K port that we were doing earlier. Just like this. Click. Okay. Now, however you had your wires ran for your monitor, then we're just going to take everything and just kind of tuck it in so that everything is nice and in there. Now there's that fan that's right there, so you want to make sure that that fan is not being obstructed. Okay, so got everything tucked in that spot, and there we go. I always start with this screw back here. It just seems to work better for me. But go ahead and start that screw. That'll hold you together. And put your other two screws in. Tighten all these guys up. Okay, there's all that. Now we are going to flip our machine back up on its. Be careful you don't unspool your filament. Put this back on here like that, and we got one other screw to put in, which goes in the top right here. There we go. It's just that simple. I know it seemed a little harder than what some people would feel comfortable doing, but that is it. Now, I bought the Creality Plus. Okay, so mine should be already set up for the firmware and everything else. If not, you can go online to Creality, download the firmware, and everything will be good. So let's plug this in and make sure that we've got power where we need power. And here we go. All right. So there is our new screen. Got everything put back together. There's my auto home. And this thing is super quiet. You cannot even hear it moving. That is amazing. I would suggest to all of you out there that are going to be changing these out, that you do a recalibration. So recalibrate your steppers, or at least make sure that the right information is in your system. So like mine is, I run mine at 139 on my stepper motors. So I go down here, yep, see, it reset my steps. So I know I'm going to redo make sure my hot end's heating up, which it appears to be. So far all my functions are working correctly. But it's that simple, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and have a blessed day.